Boxing truth here. As I expected, Bob Arum is already planting the seed for a potential Manny Pacquiao Canelo Alvarez fight for later this year if Pacquiao can get past his assignment, his third chapter with Timothy Bradley on April 9. Now, this does not surprise me one bit. This fight has been in discussions for the past year. Oscar has always stated that he would love to match Canelo with Pacquiao at one point, to see if that fight can be made. And from what I gathered from the Bob Arum interview from various outlets who were covering the live workout of Manny Pacquiao at the Wild Card Gym, it seems like there have been some discussions about that bout taking place for perhaps September of this year. All Manny Pacquiao has to do is get past Timothy Bradley, and that's the fight for boxing. That's the biggest fight out there. It's a great matchup. It's a fight that will make me shadow box. I mean, that's a fight I would love to see. But Manny Pacquiao has a choice to make. Does he want the fight? Will he retire? And can he beat Timothy Bradley convincingly in this third chapter? Because I do have concerns about this fight, no doubt. Reports of Manny not looking good. He hasn't had the best sparring, shit like that. I mean, I haven't seen Manny spar. All I've seen is, him working out. Shadow boxing, pads, heavy bag. I can only tell from what he looks from there. Man, he looks okay to me. He looks sharp, he looks fast. But I haven't seen any sparring of his. So I can only gauge of what he's doing in the other workouts. But it's not surprising to me that this fight is already in discussions. Bob Arum, shout out to Bob Arum, 50 years in boxing, just recently celebrated this past week. He's been in the game for a long time. He's done a lot of things for the sport. Yes, he's had his issues, of some things with certain fighters. I mean, no promoters an angel in the sport. It is a dirty business. But Bob Arum, he's been great for the sport of boxing. He's delivered. The track record speaks for itself. Tremendous promotions, tremendous events featuring so many fighters. Leonard, Hagler, Ali, the first fighter he ever promoted, the first fighter that ever got him into the sport. And he promoted Chavez a few fights, Roberto Duran, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. He's had all the biggest names in sports practically. And he's outlasted all of his rivals, including Don King, who is no longer relevant and has maybe two fighters under his stable. But he's pretty much a puppet to Al Heyman, who needs to allocate him dates for his fighters. Well, the handful of fighters that he currently has. But it's interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised this fight is being discussed. Oscar he's already went to the AT&T Stadium. He already had a meeting with Jerry Jones about a fight down the line later this year for about at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And that's a venue where Pacquiao has already performed. He's already had two fights there in place. Back in 2010 when he dominated Joshua Clottey and he beat the shit out of Tony Margarito in a damaging fight for both guys. Manny hasn't been as explosive, hasn't thrown as many punches ever since that fight. So that fight did take a little bit away from him, and also pretty much ruined Margarito. But you can see the lines, the dots getting together. You can see that there are discussions between De La Hoya and Arum for this fight. It's a big, huge money fight. It's definitely a fight all parties are definitely going to consider. And if Manny's not going to retire, Bob Arum has an obligation to Pacquiao of what's the future, what else is out there, what is the most biggest opportunities he can get, and that's the Canelo fight. And then Canelo, he's becoming. I mean, it's bad enough that he's fighting at 155. He's created his own division. It's Canelo weight. But now he's becoming the welterweight hunter. I mean, the guy's fought so many smaller guys in his career. Pretty much the majority of his career, he was fighting undersized, smaller guys, which built up his record. And it wasn't until 2013 that he finally took up some step-up fights. Because a majority of his fights, he was fighting blown-up welters, fighting him at catchweights, even like 151, 152. When he was younger, he was trying to make welterweight, but he couldn't make the weight, so he stuck at 54. But he wasn't fighting any guys his size until about 3 years ago, when he finally stepped up. And his resume it's been pretty solid since 2013. He's fought guys, few guys his size. Some guys just were shot. Yeah, I understand that. Angulo was shot. Kirkland had, that was a showcase. Everybody knew that. It was just a good action fight. Trout, I thought he won the fight. Close fight. He got outworked in that fight. It was his first step up, but he got outworked. And Lara, I just thought he landed the better shots, but he didn't have his best performance. So, overall, Canelo, he's had some good performances, and he's had some bad ones. And he's had a lot of fights with guys who are coming up from welterweight, and now he's fighting another welterweight in Amir Khan. But he's becoming that guy. I mean, he's a name fighter, pay-per-view market, a big fan base, and a lot of welterweights are willing to fight him because he's a big payday. He's a flawed fighter, but a Manny Pacquiao Canelo fight, that is a great fight. And Bob Arum said that Manny would have no problem with the weight, that Canelo wouldn't have to shed any extra pounds. They could do it at 155. So if Manny fights him at 155, it will be a better version of Canelo. It won't be a weight drain Canelo. It won't be a green Canelo. It'll be an experienced Canelo who's had some fights under his belt against world-class opponents. And also, he'll be fighting at his ideal weight, Canelo weight. But, there's a lot of scenarios that could play out, because it's going to be interesting if this, say if Pacquiao beats Bradley and then he doesn't retire, they're going to try to make that fight. So, if, there's a lot of politics involved, is WC going to strip Canelo? Because that is a huge fight. And that is a big sanctioning fee to turn down. But the WC could get sued because Loeffler, he's already stated that he's got his lawyers in place in case some fuck shit happens with WC and Canelo. And he'll be forced to go to litigation if that happens. Just never know. It'll be a huge fight if it goes down. Also, you have to consider Mayweather. What if Mayweather wants to come back? Because now, Bob Arum stated in the interview, if that fight was to happen, the time frame will have to be for the Mexican holiday. So it will have to go down to September, because that's where it will make the most sense for that event. Canelo's a Mexican fighter. Pacquiao has a pretty good fan base. I mean, the Mexican fans love him too. I mean, even though he became the Mexican executioner, beating all those Mexican legends of the past generation, Barrera, Morales, Marquez. I mean, they've grown to respect Manny Pacquiao because of the way he fights, the way he comes to fight. So it'll only make sense for that fight to happen in September. Just imagine it. Dallas Cowboy Stadium, Pacquiao Canelo, Over 40,000 people will show up. It'll be a tremendous event. A lot has to happen for it to be put in place, and also you have to consider Mayweather if he wants to return, because everybody feels he's gonna return. He's gonna want that September date, and Oscar, Canelo, Golden Boy will love to throw another fuck you to Hal Heyman and Mayweather if they can steal the September date from Mayweather this year as well. So, will Mayweather be forced to fight Pacquiao? Go into negotiations for a rematch? A lot to consider here. Also, Oscar is definitely willing to make the fight. He believes Canelo is too fresh, too young, too strong for Pacquiao at this stage of his career. And he still wants revenge on what Manny Pacquiao did to him by ending his career back in 2008. But it's a very interesting series of events going on here. I expected it, and now it's coming to fruition. There's already been discussions, and rooting for Manny like crazy for this April 9th fight, because I don't feel he was going to retire, and I want to see a fight with Canelo. I've always wanted to see that fight. So let's see what's up. See what goes down. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.